about how connected everything is now. I mean, globally, social media, business, it's all crossing borders constantly.
Absolutely. We're interacting worldwide.
So it kind of makes sense then that the tech we use should keep up, right? It needs to handle all these different languages.
Exactly. It's not just a nice to have anymore. Linguistic inclusivity, well, it's becoming pretty essential for actually working globally in this digital world.
And that leads us straight into large language models.
Yeah.
LLMs, you hear about them all the time. They're the engines behind ChatGPT, Gemini, Llama, all those tools.
Big players, yeah.
And a really key aspect, which is what we want to unpack today, is how well they deal with multiple languages.
Right. So our deep dive today is all about what multilingual capability really means for these LLMs and, why it's such an important feature.
Okay.
Put simply, based on what we've looked at, a multilingual LLM is basically one that can understand and produce text in more than one language.
Got it. So understanding and speaking just in different languages. Now, it's probably worth mentioning, our sources point this out, we're talking specifically multilingual capability, not the more complex thing, cross-lingual capability, where it learns in one language and applies it to another. That's different.
Yeah, that's a really crucial distinction. We're focused on the ability to operate in multiple languages.
Mm.
And while those big names you mentioned, ChatGPT, Gemini, Llama, they're impressive, no doubt.
Oh, sure.
Their main strength, really, is concentrated in what we call high-resource languages.
High-resource languages. Okay, so what does that actually mean in this context?
Well, fundamentally, it's a language that has a huge amount of easily accessible data. Digital data, mostly text, that can be fed into these models for training.
Right.
Think about English, Chinese, Spanish. The sheer volume of stuff online in those languages, that's what makes them high-resource.
Okay.
And having all that data is, well, vital for the LLM to learn all the rules, the patterns, the sort of subtleties of how the language works.
Which straight away brings up a massive challenge, doesn't it? Because our information says there are, around 7,000 languages out there?
Roughly, yeah.
Thousands. And most of them just don't have that huge digital footprint.
Right.
Which leads to this resourcedness gap, as it's called.
Yeah, exactly. That's the term used.
And that gap directly affects who actually gets to use the best LLMs, right?
Precisely. And this difference, this gap, it leads to what our sources call developmental imbalances of LLMs, basically an uneven playing field.
Uneven how?
Well, some languages, and obviously people who speak them, get access to much more sophisticated AI tools than others. It's unbalanced.
And the main reason for that imbalance is this resourcedness gap we mentioned. Just how big is this gap we're talking about?
It's significant. Our sources mentioned that something like half of all the content on the internet is in English.
Half. Wow.
Yeah. So it follows that most of the data used to train these really powerful LLMs is also massively skewed towards English and maybe a few other high-resource languages.
So the models are learning mostly from English. It's like trying to become a world-class chef, but you only ever get recipes for, I don't know, pasta.
Huh. Yeah, that's not a bad analogy. You'll get really good at pasta but struggle with anything else.
So their ability to handle low-resource languages, the ones without much training data, it's just naturally going to be weaker.
Exactly. Inherently limited. And this isn't just theoretical. It has real impacts on people who speak those languages.
Like what?
Okay.
What does that look like in the real world?
Okay, so first you get performance issues. Pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
Someone types something in a low-resource language, and the LLM might just misunderstand it.
Right.
The output could be inaccurate, maybe nonsensical, or just, low quality. Imagine trying to use a chatbot for help in your language and getting gibberish back.
Super frustrating. Okay, so poor performance. What else?
Another really important one is cultural bias. This is subtle but significant.
How?
Because the training data mostly comes from these high-resource, often Western languages. It carries the cultural norms and viewpoints embedded in that data.
Ah, okay.
So the LLM can end up making assumptions or generating text that just doesn't fit or even clashes with regional or minority cultures. It might miss a cultural cue or interpret something completely wrong based on its training.
That's a really key point. It's not just the words, it's the whole cultural context that the model might miss.
Exactly. And related to that is poor language representation.
Mino.
This could be anything from basic grammar mistakes, really awkward sentences, or even using the wrong script or characters for languages that don't use the Latin alphabet, for example. The model just hasn't seen enough examples to learn the rules properly.
So yeah, it's definitely more than just an annoyance. It can genuinely block clear communication and limit access to information for huge numbers of people.
Absolutely. And, like our sources say, it's not just a social equity thing, though it is that too. It actually holds back global businesses trying to connect with diverse markets.
Okay, but it sounds like there's potential here. It doesn't have to be this way, right? So what are the upsides? What are the advantages of building LLMs that are properly multilingual?
Well, yeah, there are some major benefits highlighted. First off, improved global capabilities for businesses.
Right. Makes sense.
If you're a company trying to operate internationally, having LLMs that can genuinely communicate in your customers' languages, understand the local context, provide culturally spot-on support, that's huge.
Yeah, essential for growing globally.
Think about a small business somewhere, maybe not in an English-speaking country. Suddenly, they could have AI tools helping them talk to customers all over the world in many languages. It levels the playing field a bit.
It's about actually meeting people where they are, language-wise and culture-wise. Seems fundamental.
Totally. Second big advantage, safer and more secure content generation.
How does multilingual ability help with safety?
Well, if the LLM understands languages more deeply and accurately, there's much less risk of, say, dangerous misinterpretations or mistranslations.
Ah, okay. Fewer errors means less chance of harmful output.
Exactly. Fewer linguistic misunderstandings leading to unsafe content. Better language processing equals better safety and security, basically.
That's a really strong argument, especially with content generation tools becoming so widespread, reducing risk on a global scale.
And the third key advantage is enhanced localization.
Going beyond just basic translation.
Way beyond. Multilingual LLMs can pick up on the subtle cultural nuances, the different ways things are said, the context within different languages and regions.
So you can tailor things much better.
Precisely. You can localize products, services, marketing, support. Make it feel truly native to a specific audience, not just translated. It's about understanding the intent and the culture behind the words.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Now, something else our sources brought up was applying this to AI-powered knowledge bases. First, maybe, what exactly is an AI knowledge base?
Right. So imagine a company takes all its internal info, like help documents, FAQs, product guides, support history, all that stuff, and combines it with AI tools. The goal is to give instant answers to customer questions, but in natural language.
So instead of me searching keywords on a website,
You just ask your question like you'd ask a person.
Yeah.
And the AI digs through the knowledge base to find and formulate a relevant answer.
Yeah.
Super fast.
Right, like a really smart instant help desk. And you're saying adding multilingual LLMs to that setup makes it even better.
Yeah, it really boosts the benefits. One key aspect is more customer-aligned support.
How so?
Well, customers can ask their questions and get answers in their own native language instantly without waiting for a human agent who speaks their language. That's a much better experience.
Definitely. Makes people feel understood and valued. Boosts loyalty, I imagine.
Big time. When support is easy and in your language, you feel better about the brand.
Makes sense. What else?
Another big one is reduce dependence on human agents. Think about a company growing globally, relying on just a few people who happen to be bilingual for customer support. It just doesn't scale. Becomes a huge bottleneck.
Yeah, you can't hire experts in every single language easily.
Exactly. But a multilingual AI knowledge base can handle tons of queries in many languages at the same time. It reduces the pressure to hire and train lots and lots of multilingual agents.
So it's not just better for the customer, it's potentially more efficient and cost-effective for the business too.
Definitely. Operational efficiency is a major factor. And finally, there's increased global reach and consistency.
Okay.
A multilingual AI system ensures that customers everywhere get the same quality of service, the same information, presented consistently.
So no matter if you're in Tokyo or Toronto or Timbuktu, you get the same reliable answers, just in your language.
Pretty much. It breaks down those language barriers, but keeps the core customer experience uniform and high quality across the board.
So wrapping this up then, it seems pretty clear that getting LLMs to properly handle multiple languages isn't just some, technical feature. It's actually got huge implications.
Yeah, really significant benefits for global communication generally, for businesses wanting to connect worldwide, and importantly, for making information more accessible to everyone, not just speakers of a few dominant languages.
It really drives home why we need to think beyond just English or just a few languages when we're developing this powerful AI technology.
Absolutely. It's about embracing the world's actual linguistic diversity.
It really makes you wonder, with AI moving so fast, What could a future look like where digital tech is genuinely inclusive of all languages? What role will these multilingual LLMs ultimately play in getting us there?
That's the big question, isn't it? Definitely something to watch.
For sure. Well, thanks for digging into this with me. Really fascinating stuff.